Hi everybody, it's Marianne from Matthew's Puzzle. Today I wanted to do a Friday favorites. I'm not sure if my friend Tony over at Just Stop Screaming is doing any today. I didn't see any on her blog. So I decided to do my own, and I decided to do my favorite books. Now, I know you can go out to any great website. There's a lot of great book websites, and you're going to get a lot of great reviews on really popular books. Like I just read Gone Girl. You can get all the reviews you want to get on the popular fiction and, the popular books out there. What I wanted to tell you about are books that really have actually changed my life. And um, I hope if you're willing to go out and take a look at these books and read them with an open mind, they might change your life too. And obviously, they're going to be probably about health and autism. So the first one I'm going to start off with is Slow Death by Rubber Duck. And this book, it talks about, like, the subtitle here is The Secret Dangers of Everyday Things. I love this book. I think this is one of the best books I've ever read. And I don't know if you guys can see, I have earmarked so many pages in here. They just have so much information, just really about how the chemicals that we're taking into our body through everyday products, our food, the rubber duck that your kid plays with, our cooking utensils, our clothing, our electronics, everything, how so many of these chemicals have not been tested. They certainly haven't been tested together when they're being used at the same time in your cosmetics. It's really scary how much of this gets taken into your body and what it can do to you. Now, kind of the bright note is there's a lot of people in this book who have made changes. They talk about the moms who band together and got BPAs removed from baby bottles. And it is a scary book in one sense, but I think it's an eye opener and it really gives you a chance to take control of your life and really understand why it's so important to, use stainless steel or use cast iron instead of any of these like Teflon type products and things like that, or to not use chemicals on your plants and everything like that. Anyway, great book, easy read, and like I said, I've earmarked a million pages in it. Okay, book number 2 is going to be about autism. And this is the first book I got after we decided to go gluten free. And it is Jenny McCarthy's Louder Than Words. I'm getting a little teary over this one. This is an important book for me. Jenny is known as a funny person. She's the funny girl. And in this book, she keeps it real. She is funny in some places, in appropriate places, but she talks about the moment she realized something was seriously wrong with her son. He was seizing and she couldn't get him to stop. She talks about those moments where she was hopeless and she would go and sit in her car and cry, and I can completely relate to this. But look at the smile on that book. That is not the smile of a woman who gave up and let autism take over her child. Great book. Excuse me, I'm over here coughing too. Sip of coffee. Hold on, guys. All right. This lady, Dr. Martha Herbert. And when I say Dr. Martha Herbert, you probably have no idea who she is, but this woman is a Harvard neurologist, not a flash in the pan. This woman is real. She's the real thing. And this lady is talking about how autism can be treated. That's important. It's the revolution. She goes on, it says whole body strategies for making life all it can be. She talks about how if you treat the body and heal the body, it allows the brain to function at full capacity. So think about it this way, and I think she probably talks about it in here, and I probably have a million pages of her book earmarked too, but some of the things she talks about is that As a Harvard neurologist, she was trained to believe when you have autism, you're born with it. It is a neurological disorder. There is no getting rid of it. You can get somebody to a certain point and that's it. They will always have it for the rest of their life. And she started seeing patients coming to her where their parents had put them on, certain diets or had started treating certain physical ailments that had always kind of been considered just part of autism. You leave it alone, and that's just what autism is. And what she started seeing did not mesh with what she had been taught in medical school. So what she was seeing were kids and adults who were getting better, and they shouldn't have been. If what she had been taught was true, that autism is untreatable, these people should not be getting better. And she says in her book she had to make a choice. She either continued to believe what she had been taught, or she was to believe what she was witnessing. And she chose to believe what she was witnessing. And she is a Harvard neurologist. Like I said, not a flash in the pan kind of person. She goes on to talk about how you can treat these illnesses within these children and how their brains can expand and start to function properly. Think about how if you're sick, you're not feeling good, how your brain doesn't function as well. Well, think about that as, what if that was happening on a cellular level for years and years and years and years? Your body is going to shut down. So it's going to only take care of those things that are critical, like, liver function, heart function, breathing, those types of things. You're going to start not being able to handle the more complicated aspects of life. If you start to fix those problems, the brain doesn't have to shut down on all of these other things, and it can expand. And that's what she started to witness, and it is amazing. She gives just all kinds of information at the end of each chapter on how to deal with these problems, removing toxins from your body, feeding it properly, giving it the right energy so that the brain can work, how the brain works. It's amazing. I love this book. I love Dr. Herbert because she actually stood up and she said what she had learned could be false and was false for these kids, and she was seeing a real difference. So to me, The Autism Revolution by Dr. Martha Herbert is one of the best books out there. I urge, even if your child doesn't have autism, I urge you to read this book because I think it talks more than just about autism. The children she's working with are autistic, but I think it can be pervasive throughout our society. What she's talking about, cleaning up your life, the stuff around you, the things you live in, cleaning that up and how it makes your brain function better. It's really important for everybody. So I love this book. Lastly, this will be my most controversial book, but I don't care because I love these guys. So anyway, this is by Dan Olmsted and Mark Blaxall, and it is called The Age of Autism. They are writers who also have a website called The Age of Autism, and you can see down here it says Mercury, Medicine, and a Man-Made Epidemic. As you know, I believe autism is not a genetic problem. We may have a genetic predisposition to some of these things, but I really think it's an environmental problem. This particular book, The Age of Autism by Dan Olmsted and Mark Blaxall, goes into really where autism came from. They start at the very beginning. These guys go and find the first 11 kids who were diagnosed with autism by Lee O'Connor at Johns Hopkins Hospital. And they go through and they look at everything they can find out about these children. and it is amazing the connections that these guys make, and they show how mercury is one of the most toxic substances, and it has been found throughout history. So they go historically through mercury, and then they go through the history of autism and show how mercury is um, intricate to autism development. Now, it's a very controversial book. I really recommend you read it, though, open-minded. I think it's the kind of book that makes you realize that you need to be in charge, and you need to think about your own life and your children's lives, and don't just follow the status quo. If you go through and you read this book and you make your informed decision on whatever you want to do, that's the important thing. That's what I think you should get out of this book. Make the informed decisions. Be smart. Realize that not always is the government out there to help you. And I know that, people will be, oh, no, the government's always out there to help us. Well, they talk right in here, and if I can find it, I just saw the chapter on it. They have a whole chapter on syphilis and the Tuskegee study. And in the Tuskegee studies, they show that the government knew that they should no longer use mercury to help to treat syphilis. But in Tuskegee, they were giving the black male patients there, they were continuing to give them mercury to see what would happen to them, not to treat their syphilis. At that time, they knew syphilis needed to be treated with antibiotics. And instead of giving these people antibiotics, they went on to do an experiment using these men who did not know they were being experimented upon, who did not know that they were being given mercury, which was, going to kill them. And the government continued to do this. They knew what they were doing. And I believe just a couple of years ago, the government actually apologized for having done that. So the government fully admits that they did this. That was in the 1960s, I believe it was. Anyway, like I said, that's probably my most controversial book. But I hope you guys go out and pick up at least one of these. I would highly recommend Slow Death by Rubber Duck. I think that's probably the easiest one to ease into. And I really do think that the autism revolution and the age of autism could speak to anyone. And I think if you like Jenny McCarthy, or you really want to know about a mother's love and her willingness to fight for her child, you need to read Louder Than Words. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.